Compost is often praised as the gardener's ultimate soil solution, but it only works its magic when it's truly finished. Use it too early, and you risk doing more harm than good. Plants stall, weeds sprout, sometimes the pile stinks or even burns young roots. But when compost is ready, properly aged, dark, and biologically alive, it becomes one of the most powerful tools in any garden. The problem? Most gardeners don't actually know when that moment arrives. Today, we're digging deep into how to tell if your compost is truly done, not by guessing, not by waiting for months and hoping for the best, but by understanding the signs that reveal whether that once rotting pile of scraps and leaves has fully transformed into rich living humus. From rot to riches, what compost is meant to be. Compost isn't just broken down waste, it's a full transformation. That banana peel, shredded newspaper, and handful of grass clippings go through several microbial stages. In the beginning, your pile heats up as bacteria race to digest fresh nitrogen. Then fungi and actinomycetes take over, digesting woody material and building structure. Worms and insects move in later, processing everything into something far more valuable than fertilizer humus. Humus is the stable dark substance that helps soil hold water, unlock nutrients, and build long-term fertility. This is what mature compost offers, but if you interrupt the process too soon, if you spread half-finished compost into your garden, you short-circuit nature's system. Your soil microbes have to finish the job, often using up nitrogen in the process, which robs your plants of nutrition. The first way to know your compost is done is simple. Smell. Finished compost smells like earth. Not garbage, not vinegar, not ammonia, not mold. It should be neutral or slightly sweet and forest-like. If there's any sourness or rot, something's still breaking down, and it's not ready yet. Next, check the texture. Grab a handful. Mature compost crumbles easily. It's soft, dark brown to black, and moist like a wrung-out sponge. You should not be able to identify what it used to be. If you still see whole onion skins, recognizable food scraps, or clumps of matted grass, the compost needs more time. Occasionally, a bit of eggshell or twig might linger, but that's fine. The majority of the pile should look uniform and earthy. And finally, check the temperature. Compost goes through a hot phase, sometimes reaching over 130 degrees Fahrenheit, but finished compost is cool. If you dig into the center and it's still warm, microbes are still working. Give it more time. So, what happens if you use compost too soon? Well, a lot of gardeners get impatient, especially in spring when everything just seems like it needs feeding right away. But spreading immature compost into your garden can actually lead to stunted plants, yellowing leaves, and sometimes even pest outbreaks. That's because unfinished compost can lock up nitrogen as the microbes are still busy digesting it. Plus, some of those materials might still be acidic or release compounds that could harm your plant roots. And if the weather is wet, immature compost can even go anaerobic, which encourages root rot instead of healthy root growth. Instead of saving time, rushing compost really just ends up costing you a whole growing season. Alright, so here's a foolproof way to test if your compost is ready. The seedling germination test. Just fill a small container with your compost and plant a few fast-growing seeds like radish or lettuce. If the seeds germinate and grow strong, your compost is good to go. But if they stall, turn yellow, or don't sprout at all, that means there's still something in the compost that's too active or maybe even a bit toxic. It's not a glamorous test, but it's one of the clearest ways to see how plant-friendly your compost really is. How long should compost take to finish? Well, there's no single answer. A hot compost pile, managed with the right balance of greens and browns, moisture and oxygen, can be finished in 6 to 8 weeks. But, a cold pile that's left alone might take 6 months to a year, and that's okay. Compost is a process, not a race. In fact, slower, well-aged compost tends to produce more humus than quick-cooked batches. Time matters less than temperature, smell, texture, and microbial balance. Even if your pile takes all winter to mature, the result is definitely worth it. If your compost mostly looks ready but still contains a few larger pieces, consider screening it. A simple mesh frame lets you separate the fine, ready material from the chunks that still need time. The fine portion can go straight to your garden, and the rest can go back into the next pile. That way, you're not wasting any part of the process. For raised beds or seed starting, screened compost gives more even results. For trees, shrubs, or deep mulching, chunkier compost works just fine. Once your compost is ready, don't just leave it out exposed. Sun, wind, and rain can leach away nutrients. Microbial life can die off if it dries out. Ideally, store your finished compost in a shaded spot with a tarp over it or in a bin that allows airflow. Keep it slightly moist, and stir it every few weeks if you're not using it immediately. Well-stored compost stays active and ready for months. Trust nature, but know the signs. Compost doesn't come with a done label, you know? But nature leaves clear clues for those who know how to read them. An earthy smell, a cool temperature, a crumbly texture, and no recognizable materials. These are the signs that what you've built is no longer waste. It's life-giving humus, ready to feed your soil and transform your garden. Once you've used mature compost a few times, your soil really begins to change. Water retention improves, roots grow deeper, and pests visit less often. Your plants need less synthetic input, and honestly, yields go up naturally. That's the long-term reward of getting it right. Before you toss that compost, make sure it's done. If you've been wondering whether your compost is ready, now you know exactly what to check. Don't guess. Test it, smell it, touch it. Let your garden reap the full rewards of finished compost. There's nothing else like it for soil revival, moisture control, and nutrient balance. And if this guide helped clarify the compost process for you, don't forget to subscribe to Soil Doctor for more practical soil building strategies, regenerative gardening tips, and composting secrets you won't find on the back of a fertilizer bag. Share this with a fellow gardener who's been digging into compost too soon. We've all done it, but with the right information, your next pile can be your best yet.